Okay. um, we're gonna we're gonna do this one a little bit differently. So this is gonna be a Gooner Pavilion, Arsenal versus Spurs, Spurs versus Arsenal. You know what I mean. Um, okay, so guys, Wednesday was a real one. We cannot ignore it. It was a tough one. And listen, if you were on social media, I salute you because that was a real tough place to be after that Wolves game. Look, chapter 27 was a bad one. Mikel Arteta talked about it.
And that was a chapter. So we have a long season. Chapter 27 says, okay, we draw against Wolves in this manner. What I'm very interested is about the next one. Is what we are made of. Okay, what do we do about this, and how we write our own destiny from here and going forward. And that's it. And you have to react to that because life moves on. The result has to stay unfortunate as it was. There is nothing else we can do. What we can do is a lot.
He said it's chapter 27. Kind of like the ring of it. Chapter 27 was a bad one. 2 goals up, control of the game, and then we let it slip. And when something slips in the title race, the noise gets loud. We know everyone's circling around Arsenal. But there is a question, though. Does one bad performance rewrite the whole chapter? Or one chapter rewrites the whole book? Or does it test whether the story still holds? So Tottenham away is the next page in the chapter. And I want to look at whether Arsenal are finished, like everyone is saying. Are we bottling it, as they are also saying? Are we still contending? Listen, guys, welcome to the Gooner Pavilion. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been rocking with us all this time, appreciate you. Thank you. Let's keep this thing going. And let's get into our preview and talk football. Let's get into it. Okay, so I've rewatched the Wolves game. I know. Why would you want to put yourself through that kind of pain? But I had to do it because I've got a job here in this show to sort of talk about Arsenal. Think about Arsenal games, what I've seen, what we've done, and sort of look at where we go from here. And I watched the whole thing. I didn't watch highlights. I watched the whole thing. And it wasn't just one mistake. It was so many unforced errors. There was Gabriel, there was Timber, there was Raya, Martinelli. Players you trust to navigate tight moments. I think you can say that. And then even Rice and Subrimendi, they just fell slightly off. And in title races, slightly off is not enough. It's not. And here's where Arteta's response really matters. So after Wolves, Arteta said something important. He called it a bad chapter. And then he said, we stay in the present. He talked about swallowing the frustration, taking every hit and bullet, responding on the pitch. I think he's being very clever here because this is not panic language. This is really about trying to reset the atmosphere. And it's showing a growth in Mikel Arteta that in past season. Now, listen, all of this would be nothing if Arsenal don't win the league. But if Arsenal do, this moments will be looked back at when the manager tried to reset the direction, like when he made the call after the Manchester United game, and Arsenal had a great response after that. It feels like this team really need their leader. And the leader here is Mikel Arteta. He has to show the way. He cannot be drawn into what we fans are drawn into, the emotional highs and lows, what the media are trying to generate, the narrative and all of that. He can't be drawn into that. He has to stay strong. And that's the mentality that is going to be needed if we need to go and do what we need to do. Okay, so let's zoom out, right? Because this is Spurs and Arsenal preview. Spurs are 16th. New manager, injuries everywhere. Home form is poor. They're not doing very well at home. They've not won a game this season in 2026, so they're unstable. But here's the irony, though. Instability can be dangerous in a derby. As of Arsenal, listen, we're top of the league, 58 points, but we're under extreme scrutiny. We are, and pressure feels heavier when you're ahead. I don't know. I don't know why Arsenal should be feeling the pressure. What has changed? I keep asking myself the question, what has changed? Now, obviously, I've not played at the professional level before, but I mean, this is just another game. I watch another sport, the NFL, and everybody talks about getting into the playoffs, how the playoffs is so different. But then I was listening to the Seattle Seahawks, who are the new Super Bowl champions, and some of the players we're talking about, they just treated it as another game. And I wonder whether that is so important. Mikel Arteta has been saying it, it's just another game. Even Pep was talking about Man City, saying it's just another game. The Giggs game is against Newcastle. How do you get the players to think in that way? It's another game. We have to perform. We have to beat the people in front of us. We have to take 3 points. So let's look at tactically what we might see in this game. Now, if Ødegaard returns, I think we will see, a little bit of a change in the dynamic of this game. I think Mikel Arteta is going to make some decisions about, the starting 11. Are these players jaded, not just physically, but emotionally? Has Timber played one too many games? Not a bad player, but should Ben White be coming in for this game? And it always feels like, I don't know if Mikel Arteta is caught in this, but, you've got so many games left, in the Premier League, that every time one player doesn't play, it feels like the player is dropped. It almost feels like it's the referendum on that player. But I think that he needs to take away that narrative around putting some players on the bench. This is about playing the best team that can get the job done. And I think if you honestly look at that team that we've got, there are arguments to say that, the best right back should be Ben White right now, not Timber. Maybe Norgard needs to come in instead of Zubimendi. So these are things that I would love to see happening in that game. Now, Spurs are still going to have threats. Solanke, can pin the center backs. Kula Moani is going to run into channels. Xavi Simon is dangerous if you give turnovers because he can strike the ball as well. And that's the key. Arsenal's vulnerability recently hasn't been tactical. It's been, should I say, concentration? Managing the game state after we score. What do you do? Mikel Arteta talked about it in his press conference, the things that he wants to see, after Arsenal score. Go get the second one, control the game. Don't make unforced errors and the likes. So this game, for me, it has all the hallmark of a bounce back game. This is the sort of game that you can erase every narrative. And I'm not trying to build up the pressure here for the players, but I'm just saying that psychologically, you go and beat your North London rivals. This can be the galvanizing effect that going to Anfield was for Manchester City. They were almost losing that game. Then they were drawing that game. Then they won that game. And that in itself, changes a lot of things. It makes you puff your chest out. All the players were talking, giving it all the big guns. But this is what games like this can do. And I think that Arsenal needed this sort of game, a game that will make them absolutely focus. It's not about, what's going on. And yes, there is the unknown factor, the unknown quantity about the new manager, Igor Tudor. We don't know what he's going to be doing and all of that. I listened to his press conference. And it will be interesting to see whether they get the manager bounce, with this. But For Arsenal, it's all about business. It's all about business for Arsenal, and there is nothing else that we have to look at. Now, guys, if you've been following this channel, I've been doing that road to 90, and I felt after that Wolves game, we need to revisit the model. We do. We built the road to 90 around 4 buckets: bank it, manageable, swing, and gauntlet. Now, I had to ask myself, does that model still hold? So, bank it, we've got 4 games left: Everton, Fulham, Burnley, Bournemouth, all at home. That's 12 points. It's not optional. It's not optional. In the manageable bucket, we've got 3 left: West Ham away, Brighton away, Newcastle at home. Now, 7 points here keeps stability, actually. Less than that, pressure increases. Now, let's look at the swing games, because this Spurs game is in there. Spurs away, Chelsea home, Palace away. Originally, we targeted dominance in this game, in this bucket, right? Now, this bucket has to carry the weight. It really does. And then gauntlet is one. That game against City, anything there is a surplus. Honestly, we've got to not build our hopes on that game, because there's too much emotional currency with that game, too much emotional leverage. This is exactly what Man City wants, and we will play into Man City's hands if we're going into that game, leading a result. And listen, all the media are going to speculate, Gary Neville and the rest say, oh, you got to go to Man City and win and prove a statement. No, you can still do that, but you don't need to be going into that needing a win. And that will be the biggest mistake that we can do. So after reviewing everything, I genuinely, I think there are 3 scenarios that are available to Arsenal now. 3 parts. Now, scenario 1, you win almost everything, City included. With 11 games to go, that's the dream. Is that possible? Yeah. Probable? Maybe no. I think that's very unlikely, that Arsenal win everything. Listen, I would love to see that. I love to be cheering us, obviously with the Spurs game, the next one, that we go on that run. But I think it's unlikely. So that's scenario 1, perfection, 90 plus. Now, scenario 2 is kind of where I'm leaning towards. This is the 87 to 88. We're going to have to readjust this bucket a little bit. 87 to 88 now. So 12 from Bankit games, right? So we got 4 games there. We got 12 points. We've got to get those 12 points, right? Now, if we get 7 from manageable games, right, we've got 3 left in there. We get 7, so 2 wins and a draw. And then 7 or 8 from the swing games. Now, we've got 3 there. It would be great if we can get 9 points. But if we get 7 in that, maybe a draw at City, that takes you to 87 points. And 87 wins you title in many seasons, right? And that's the part of control. The trouble with that path is that if you were looking at 87, you're expecting that things have also happened elsewhere. And when we built this model, it was all about Arsenal doing what they needed to do and not having to worry about City. Well, I don't think we're kind of in that same universe anymore. Now we have to think about City a little bit, but we still need to get the job done. And the last scenario is the worst case scenario, guys. I don't even want to say this scenario. I don't even want to breathe it, because this scenario is, honestly, it's the worst one. I don't even want to talk about it, because I don't want to manifest it. But you drop points at home, you lose composure in swing games, and then you finish around 82. Probably that's it done. Arsenal will get that bottling tag, and honestly, I don't know if we'll ever get it off. And psychologically, it might just unravel things, for Arsenal. Having led the table for so long, which was the same thing that happened in that season where we got 50 points in December, where we led the table all through, and then with 8 points to go, things crazy stuff started happening. We've got to arrest this. We've got to arrest it. So where are Arsenal right now, guys? Favorites, finish, contending. I'd like you to also chime in where you think. I think contending, because I think that means something important. It means that this next game we need a response. Spurs away is never always easy, but I think you win this game and then you get yourself right back on track. I think you get yourself right back on track with this game. So what I think about this game, I've already talked about potentially the players that might start this game. Raya in goal. You've got Ben White. I want to see Ben White, Gabriel, Saliba. Gabriel owes us one. After that game against Wolves, Nkapie can start. He was all right. Calafiori, can come in later on, but Nkapie starts, and then I want Rice and Norgard. Rice and Norgard, please. Can I have Rice and Norgard, please? Rice and Norgard, thank you. Rice and Norgard, please. And then obviously you've got what you need to do. Trossard, potentially. Hey, listen, if Havertz is fit, I want to see Havertz in this game, right? So I might do a Havertz, Ødegaard, Madueke, Trossard. Now I know that Saka is gonna play, so Madueke will, cool himself on the bench because it's not London derby and all of that. Saka only doesn't play this game if he's not fit. So Saka's gonna come in, Trossard is gonna come in, and then Ødegaard and Havertz. We'll see how that goes. So listen, I think it'll be tense, control, all the hype and everything, but I think we can get back to our disciplined ways. I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory to Arsenal. And this just resets belief. So, hey, listen, 87 points still demands that we play elite football and have title behavior going forward. But guys, listen, we are at the crossroads, Arsenal fans. We are at the crossroads. And that crossroad means we need to say and show who we really are in this title race. So, hey, if you've enjoyed this breakdown, like, subscribe, join the Pavilion. We'll have you. And next time we talk, we'll know whether chapter 28 stabilized the story or it was another horror show. Come on, you Gunners.